Hello, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh, and I'm going to do the first of my new series of videos. I should have thought of this earlier in the season, but first I want to apologize if I didn't thank who sent me the cat food and coupons. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I was still thinking about my neighbor and Tiny One and Fuzzy and Fluffy. And earlier today, Kathy, who called me the wonderful A word again because I didn't agree with her, hung up on me. I hate that. Anyway, this is NFL talk. And I didn't watch football all season, excuse me, but I watched it this weekend. And my question is, with 10 penalties brought against the Jaguars, and one against the Patriots, was the playoffs, were the playoffs this weekend and last week fixed to ensure a Patriots victory and to enable them to get 6 rings and thereby overturning the distinction of the Steelers, that the only team to have 6 Super Bowl rings? I'm beginning to think so. We have a referee who, referees are supposed to be impartial. This guy becomes a homer and is cheering the Patriots' victory when he shouldn't be doing anything of the sort. Will we see an unprofessional-like conduct fine and penalty lodged on this referee? Probably not. And by the way, for those who are curious, the number one team among women in the United States for the NFL is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 2 team with men around the NFL cities is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 1 is the Green Bay Packers. And 64% of those who follow the NFL are Steelers fans. And then there's the weird comment. Now, I know he probably made it a joke. He's one of 25 celebrities on a list out there that are huge Steeler fans. Dwayne Johnson said in a promo for the Patriots-Jaguars game that said something to the effect of, that everybody wanted the Steelers to win. Now, and then he went on to continue talking about the game. Now, that may have been a little joke. He's a big Steelers fan. He's from Hayward, California. He's not from Pittsburgh, but he somehow adopted the Steelers. But maybe Dwayne Johnson knows more than he lets on. And then there was Rush Limbaugh, who started to say the Steelers should have won that game, but I better not. And he cut himself off. So maybe Rush knows more than he's willing to tell on the air. Now, some will say this is the thing of conspiracies. But when you have penalties that are missed, obvious penalties in the Steelers game, penalties in the game that the Vikings played that should have gone against the Vikings, that should have gone against the Jaguars, they're totally missed by the officials. When you have the entire season, if you Google it, whole sections of Google are on bad officiating and how the individual teams are screaming about it. By the way, the First Amendment does not apply to the NFL. If you're a coach or a player, they fine you for criticizing the officials. One coach was brave enough in a press conference, I think it was a New Orleans coach, either New Orleans or Atlanta, to complain about the bad officiating. And he said, and another player said, I would say something if I don't want to get fined. So you don't dare say anything about the officials if you're a player or a coach in the NFL. And the head of the Referees Association said there's no bias and we're all above board, yada, yada, yada. Well, after this Patriots game, where you got a referee rooting for the Patriots visibly You see the picture on this video. Any pretense of impartiality by NFL referees is gone forever. Of course, Jacksonville would not have been good in the ratings. Neither would have Minnesota. Neither probably would have been Atlanta. The Steelers would have been. And so we have another problem with the Eagles. You have Terry Bradshaw going there to Philadelphia and leading them in the song, Go Up Chuck, Go Up, Go Dogs Go. And the Steelers fans are furious at him because the Philadelphia Eagles are hated by Pittsburgh Steelers fans. The only other two teams they hate as much traditionally have been the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns, but also more with the Browns, or as I call them, the Brownies. They finally took the elf off their helmet. I'll deal with that in March when you see what I get on eBay that I found. And the Ravens, the new rival for the Steelers, but we hate the Eagles. And how could Bradshaw, who does and says very strange and goofy things when he talks about football on television, how can he possibly disrespect the Steelers fans who have supported him and loved him for years as a legendary quarterback for the Steelers, and go to Philadelphia and lead their team? And then there's Blitzburg, the website, saying the defensive end of the Steelers' play was a work in progress. And one guy said, what work in progress? They've sucked. The two defensive coordinator coaches should be fired. And there's calls for Mike Tomlin to be fired, including one by minority owners in the NFL. So, in conclusion, were the playoffs fixed to ensure that New England would get 6 rings and give the finger to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because I'm tired of the New England Patriots hype, just like I was tired years ago of the Dallas Cowboys America's team hype. Oh, by the way, another comment. What is Pepsi doing? What are they thinking? They're having the Dallas Loser Boys on their commercials for Pepsi. They're losing. They got a losing record. They got a crappy quarterback. Why would they have the Dallas Cowboys in the commercials? My jaw dropped when I saw that. You've got to be kidding. No one cares about the Cowboys. They suck. All right. I think this game was rigged. I think the whole playoff on the weekend was rigged. They missed penalties. They gave too many penalties to the Jaguars and touched the Patriots with the kid gloves that Tom Brady may have been wearing for his cut hand. And that's another thing. They need to change something. They need to change this questionable crap, these questionable play. They should tell the fans and the media, and then also the guys that bet on this sort of stuff, because that's very important when you're betting whether or not a guy's going to play or not. If he's really injured and if he's really able to play, none of this questionable. I have questionable things about the entire playoffs for these last 2 weeks. And I question one other thing. What happened to the Minnesota Vikings? Now, I'm not ragging Jeremy DeJoy about this, or no joy, but they look like they were deer caught in the headlights as the Eagles steamrolled them, and they never could recover. I'm dumbfounded after the way they played the Steelers, and then they go in this game and they're all standing there like. So I don't understand that. Were the Eagles that good of a team that everybody now 3 games, because they're going into the Super Bowl as an underdog? They were a 3-point underdog against the Vikings, but someone let these dogs out, and they tore the Vikings a new one. And with the number 1 defense in football, we heard about that for weeks. It shouldn't happen, but the defenses of the Steelers, the defense of the Vikings absolutely fell apart like confetti. And I think there need to be some changes made, maybe with both teams. And the Vikings have not signed a quarterback for next year, so that'll be interesting. They'll go into I guess, the round of picks for the draft with no quarterback, and we'll see who's going to be their quarterback. He's not new, but he's new to me. New guy, young guy, or will the other guy that's injured? I don't follow the Vikings except when Jeremy talks about him, and it's one name going into one ear, not the other. Well, the guy who's been injured, Stafford or whatever, I don't know his name. That might be the Philadelphia. I can't remember all these names. Will they bring back their quarterback who's been injured, or will they sign this new guy as their regular quarterback? Who knows? And finally, I noticed one other thing on the sidelines. You had one Vikings player jumping them down like a pogo stick during the national anthem. I guess he couldn't wait for it to get done. But nobody on either side was kneeling. And a lot of players had their hats off, their hands over their heart, and they were respecting the national anthem and our flag. And that was refreshing when a time when the NFL has lost 25 million viewers to all this kneeling, disrespecting the anthem and the flag. All right, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. I'll be at the Super Bowl, actually in a bar here, watching the Super Bowl and filming parts of it for the reaction. But for the first time in my life, I'll have to grit my teeth and get a air sickness bag and root for the Philadelphia Eagles. Have a great night. Stay warm and safe out there. Bye-bye for now.